When people speak of Vikings, they often imagine longships, berserkers and raiders from Scandinavia terrorizing the coasts of Europe. But the Viking Age, a period stretching from the late 8th century to the mid-11th century, was not only about raids, it was a time of political ambition, cultural expansion and warrior kings. And few figures capture the spirit of the Viking Age better than Harald Hardrada, the last great Viking warrior king. His life was a saga of exile, conquest, ambition and tragedy. He traveled from Norway to Russia, fought in the Byzantine Empire, and returned to claim a throne, only to die in a climactic battle that marked the end of the Viking Age in 1066. Cross-swords, origins of a warrior prince. Early life. Born around 1015 AD, Harald Sigurdsson was the half-brother of Olaf II, later Saint Olaf, the King of Norway. At just 15 years old, Harald fought alongside Olaf at the Battle of Stiklestad, 1030, where Olaf was killed and Harald was forced into exile. Wounded but not broken, Harald fled east, beginning a remarkable journey. Classical building. The Byzantine years. A Viking in the east. Harald found refuge in Kievan Rus, modern-day Ukraine/Russia, under Prince Yaroslav the Wise. But his ambitions did not end there. He soon traveled south to Constantinople, capital of the Byzantine Empire. Harald and the Varangian Guard. Joined the Varangian Guard, the elite unit of Norse and Anglo-Saxon warriors who served as personal bodyguards to the Byzantine Emperor. Fought in Sicily, Anatolia, the Holy Land and even North Africa. Gained immense wealth, military experience and political acumen. Became known as a brilliant and ruthless commander. After nearly a decade of service, Harald returned to Rus, wealthy and powerful, ready to take back Norway. Crowned the return to Scandinavia. Claiming the throne. In 1046, Harald allied with Magnus the Good, the reigning king of Norway, and his nephew. When Magnus died mysteriously in 1047, Harald became the sole ruler of Norway. As king, Harald ruled with an iron fist. He suppressed rebellions, centralized power, and fought Denmark for control of all Scandinavia. Though he never fully conquered Denmark, he stabilized Norway and strengthened its monarchy. Dragon. The Last Viking Invasion. England 1066. By the 1060s, Harald set his sights beyond Scandinavia. In England, Edward the Confessor had died childless in January 1066, triggering a crisis. Multiple claimants emerged, including Harold Godwin's son, the powerful Anglo-Saxon noble who seized the crown. William of Normandy, claiming a promise from Edward. And Harald Hardrada, who argued that a prior deal between Scandinavian and English kings gave him the rightful claim. The invasion. In September 1066, Harald Hardrada invaded northern England with a fleet of around 300 ships and 10,000 warriors. Allied with Tostig Godwin's son, Harold's exiled brother. Scored a major victory at the Battle of Fulford near York. But triumph was short-lived. Coffin. The Battle of Stamford Bridge, Viking doom. On September 25, 1066, King Harald Godwin's son marched his army north with incredible speed and caught Harald Hardrada by surprise at Stamford Bridge. The battle. The Norwegians were caught without their full armor and weapons. Despite fierce resistance, Harald was struck by an arrow to the throat and killed. His army was decimated. Only 24 ships returned to Norway from the original 300. This defeat marked the end of the Viking Age. Just 3 weeks later, Harald Godwin's son would be killed by William the Conqueror at the Battle of Hastings, changing English and European history forever. And for a legacy, the Last Viking. Harald Hardrada's death didn't just end a military campaign, it symbolized the close of the Viking era. The age of sea kings and warrior jarls was giving way to centralized monarchies and feudalism. Remembered for his military genius and travels across Europe and Asia. His saga-worthy life that inspired later Norse poetry and legend. Being a true world figure of the 11th century, serving in Constantinople, fighting in Jerusalem, ruling in Norway and dying in England. Book's historical impact. The fall of Viking power. After Stamford Bridge, no Scandinavian kingdom attempted major invasions of Western Europe. The rise of England. Harold's death paved the way for the Norman conquest. Byzantine and Norse links. His service in the Byzantine Empire shows the global reach of the Vikings, far beyond raiding. Brain. Did you know? Harald may have inspired the character of a Viking paladin in medieval stories due to his time in Byzantium. He wrote skaldic poetry rare among kings, some of which survives today. His nickname, Hardrada, means hard ruler, a testament to his iron will and brutal governance. Harald Hardrada wasn't just a king, he was the embodiment of the Viking spirit, bold, ambitious, fearless, and fated for legend. His life bridged the old pagan warrior age and the coming age of Christian kingdoms. In dying at Stamford Bridge, he became the last great Viking, and his fall signaled the end of an era.